Welcome to Beyond Our Focus. I'm Stefan, this is Amanda, and this is Let's Palaver About the Drawing of the Three. Part 2, chapter... Nope. Technically chapter 5, but it's called Reshuffle.
Yeah, this is actually... It's not even part of part 2 anymore. It's its own little part.
It's in between part 2 and part 3 of the book. Yeah. So, but Reshuffle.
Reshuffle.
If you recognize, if you watched last week's episode, we got to open some special presents on Christmas Eve. My wife made us shirts.
Yay!
So we have shirts. Awesome shirts.
Yes.
Beyond
really
Our
cool.
Focus, the circle, my little bat, and her red panda.
It's funny because they're swapped-ish as far as the drawing goes.
Yeah. Her drawing of my bat and my drawing of her red panda.
That's cool.
So, of our first and latest comics.
Yay!
So, very, very interesting. They look great. We don't know how many shows they're going to be on. We don't know how many shows they could physically possibly make it onto, unfortunately. If these magically don't shrink in a dryer, then they'll be fine. We'll wear them again. If they shrink in the dryer, there will be children's shirts, and we'll have to... We will find a way to put them on the show somehow. But
Tablecloth.
So, I don't know. Something. We'll figure out something.
So, let's get to it.
The
last chapter pretty much ended with Odetta returning after they went through a long, horrifying adventure with Detta Walker just brutally slowing down their adventure as much as possible.
Oh, yeah.
And so finally, Detta has the whole, oh, my head hurts thing, and she passes out, and Odetta has returned to us. Praise the Lord, because we need a break.
Yeah. Oh, God. Detta's a lot to handle.
And Roland needs a break, too, because as soon as Odetta appears, out he goes. He is like, I made it. I made it.
Thank God.
Dun, 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 dun. So, the first note I have is, now it opens up with, to Eddie Dean, he and the lady no longer seem to be trudging or even walking up what remained of the beach. They seem to be flying.
Yeah, it's amazing how well things go when you have someone who's cooperating with you.
So pretty much, and then of course they foreshadow that Roland has been left behind. Yes.
Odetta Holmes still neither liked nor trusted Roland. That was clear. But she recognized how desperate his condition had become and responded to that.
Go with her. Before I was watching out for you, and that was important. Now I'll only slow you down.
I came to realize how right the gunslinger was almost at once. Eddie pushed the chair. Odetta pumped it. Do you remember when I told you to be on your guard and you weren't? Yes, I'm telling you again. Be on your guard. Every moment. If her other comes back, don't wait even a second. Brain her. What if I kill her? Then it's the end. But if she kills you, that's the end too. And if she comes back, she'll try. She'll try.
So yes, Eddie did not want to leave him.
He was his only connection to this world.
Yeah. But he realized that, especially with how fast they're moving, if Roland was with them, it would be slow. But he also realized that, baby girl, what's wrong? Yes, I know. You're very important. You're a very important part of this podcast. I'm sorry you didn't get a shirt. Go lay down. Go on. Go lay down. But he pretty much realizes that not only is it that Odetta is important because she's flying with him, she's working with him, he loves her, everything, but also they really need the chair, so they have to be careful. The chair is a very important part of this entire thing. The chair equaled hope.
And then we go...
I just...
Yeah, I was going to say, then we go back.
Yes.
Now we go back to right after Roland had passed out.
So Eddie's trying to get him to eat, and he's like, no, like, feed her. I'll be fine. Eddie's worried that Detta's just pretending. And Roland's like, no. She's not pretending to be anything except alone in her body. I know it, and you do too.
Feed her for the sake of your father, and while she eats, come back to me. Every minute counts now, every second.
Eddie got up, and the gunslinger pulled him back with his left hand. Sick or not, his strength was still there. And say nothing about the other. Whatever she tells you, however she explains it, don't contradict her.
Nope.
Why? I don't know. I just know it's wrong. Now do as I say and don't waste any more time.
Just go with whatever she says. We need her to stay like her as much as possible.
Yes. So pretty much Eddie goes back to her to try to feed her, and she's like, I don't know if I can. You know what happened last time. It wouldn't hurt you to try again. Because he had no idea what she was talking about. I love you, Eddie. You have tried so hard, been so patient. So has he. She nodded toward the place where the gunslinger lay propped against the rocks, watching. But he is a hard man to love. Yeah, don't I know it. And of course, he just, that's his world right there. He's just mesmerized.
He does love her quite a bit.
Please God, I have never had much, so please don't take her away from me again. Please. And then she tries to eat it. And she comes up with a story about it being allergic to scallops and having told him that she was.
She thinks she's been eating every day and throwing it up.
Yes. And now, after she tries it, she just, whomp, whomp. I must not be allergic anymore.
Oh, well, she says it must be different. We're further up the beach, it must be different. Yeah, sure. Whatever makes you feel well. Just eat the food so you can gain some strength so we can continue onward here.
Just don't overdo it. You're not used to it. All that he swallowed and there was an audible click. All that throwing up.
Yeah.
Thank him and don't tell him that he scares me.
And then we move back to him pushing her again.
And it's pretty much like a little, drag cart race. Like he's pushing and she's like left, right, left. And immediately he gets tired and she's like, you need to sleep. He's like, nah, I'm good.
That seems like a bad idea.
And she's like, you need to rest. I will wake you up in an hour. I promise. And it's like, no. And he said, thinking, but you don't understand. If I sleep and Detta Walker comes back, sleep, Eddie.
You will sleep forever at that point. And he does.
Yes. She said, and since Eddie was too weary and too much in love to do other than trust her, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And she does wake him up in an hour. And now we're back to Eddie talking to Roland.
Yep.
Hunker down.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much tells him the plan. About, you're going, I'm staying here. You kill this much one night if you make it to, halfway there pretty much. If you don't, you kill this many.
Mm-hmm. If you don't reach it tonight, kill triple here. He handed over one of his guns. Eddie took it in respect, surprised by its heaviness. I thought the shells were all losers. Probably are, but I've loaded them with the ones I believe were wetted the least.
1 may fire. 2 if you're lucky. Don't try them on the crawlies. There may be other things out there. And then, of course, he's also like, plus, you may need to kill her.
Which Eddie will not do.
You may have to wing her. When you get to the door, leave her. Shelter her as well as you can, and come back to me with the chair. And the gun. And Roland freaks out.
Hey, he flips out. Like, what do you mean, the gun?
Leave her with a loaded gun when her other might come back at any time? Are you insane? The shells. Fuck the shells! The gunslinger cried, and a freak drop in the wind allowed the words to carry to Odetta. Leave it with her not. Eddie does not like this.
No, he doesn't.
My phone vibrated on the pumpkin
I
basket.
was like, what's going on?
So, pretty much just...
Something you can't drive off with a stick. If something else attacks her. And he's like, well, give her a pile of stones, the gunslinger said. Stones? Jesus wept, man. Are you... Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, you're such a brat.
I am thinking, the gunslinger said, something you seem unable to do. I gave you the gun so you could protect her from the sort of dangers you're talking about.
Would it please you if I took the gun back? Then perhaps you could die for her. Would that please you? Very romantic. Except then, instead of just her, all 3 of us would go down. Very logical. You're still a brat. Go or stay, stop calling me names. You forgot something, Eddie said furiously. What was that? You forgot to tell me to grow up. That's what Henry always used to say. Oh, grow up, kid. The gunslinger had smiled, a weary, oddly beautiful smile. I think you have grown up. Will you go or stay? And it says, I'll go, Eddie said. What are you going to eat? She scarfed the leftovers. So the brat will find a way. This brat has been finding a way. It's like, Eddie looked away. I guess I'm sorry I called you that, Roland. It's been a very trying day. Just the relationship between Eddie and Roland is just crazy.
It's a good one, though.
It is. It really is. It's back and forth. It's beautiful. It's lovely. And it's just... They hate each other. They love each other. They don't know what to do.
It's a hard relationship.
Yeah. It's lovely.
Then we move back again to Eddie and her.
And they decide to stop for a bit, to stretch out. What is he? That was my next note. Lord, it feels so good to stretch out, she sighed, but her brow clouded. I keep thinking of that man back there, Roland, all by himself, and I can't really enjoy it. Eddie, who is he? What is he? Mm-hmm. And almost as an afterthought, and why does he shout so much? Just his nature, I guess.
Eddie said, and it promptly went off to gather rocks. Roland hardly ever shouted, he guessed. Some of it was this morning, off the shelves, but the rest of it must have been her false memory, the time she thought she had been Odetta.
But he went out, he killed Triple, and then almost got nipped by the 4th one. Says, and then of course they start watching the night sky and have a nice romantic evening together.
Oh, do they ever.
They're talking about starlight, starbright, and they say the words together. And then they make a wish, and he says, Eddie said and thought, please, always you. Have the wish I wish tonight, she echoed, and thought, if I must die in this odd place, Please let it not be too hard, and let this good young man be with me. And of course they're both crying and looking at each other. Later, with strange galaxies turning in slow gavotte overhead, neither thought the act of love had ever been so sweet and so full.
Which, if you didn't gather from that, they got it on.
So yes, they've spent their first night together, because before that it had foreshadowed it by, she asked him if he was asleep, and when he said no, she asked if she could sleep by him because it was too cold.
I'm sure it was.
And so then they were racing along again, and the scenery has been changing. And suddenly Odetta cries for him to stop. So he does, and then he freaks out thinking something's wrong with her. So he's like, "What is it? What's wrong? Are you okay?" She's like, "Up ahead. Do you see something?"
And poor Eddie.
I know.
The worst eyes out of everybody. Just can't see jack squat.
That was my note, was the door is sighted, and Eddie still can't see it.
He's never the first one. His eyes just aren't there.
You really think you've got it spotted, don't you? Yes, well then, let's go. Half an hour later, he saw it too. Jesus, he thought, her eyes are as good as Roland's, maybe better.
I doubt that.
No.
But you're being nice.
Maybe
You love her.
Maybe now.
Well, yeah, half dead, maybe.
So they quickly ate and then started, forcing their way through everything. And as I said, the scenery is changing. They're hearing bugs and crickets, and they're seeing seagulls and birds and all these small animals. By mid-afternoon, they could see the third door. Like the other two, it was an impossibility, which nonetheless stood as stark as a post. Amazing, he heard her say softly. How utterly amazing.
They reached the door.
What might have been 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just stared at it.
Yeah, I mean, those things are pretty interesting. Pretty mystical there.
What 2 words were written on this door? What does it mean? I don't know.
Which is funny. We'll keep reading. And they just never say what 2 words are on the door.
And that's on purpose.
I know, but they never say the 2 words.
So it's just said, "Don't you?" she asked, looking at him more closely. "No, he swallowed, no." And then, of course, she wants to see what's behind it.
Of course.
So we go through this, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth thing again.
With the invisible door, non-invisible, invisible, whatever.
Yeah. So the magic trick door. And then they wonder if it will work for anyone but Roland. So, of course, Eddie reaches out and turns the knob. And it doesn't do anything.
No, it's not going to open for poor Eddie.
All right, her voice was calm, resigned. It's for him, then. I think we both knew it. Go for him, Eddie, now. So he decides to set her up in this little mountainous area, to which this entire time they've been hearing this giant cat screaming.
Mm-hmm. Way up in the distance.
It seems to be getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much, yeah.
Her eyes flickered to the gunslinger's revolver, shoved into the waistband of his pants. For just a moment, then back to his face. He felt a dull heat in his cheeks. He told you not to give that to me, didn't he? She said softly. He doesn't want me to have it. For some reason, he doesn't want me to have it. To which Eddie makes up a little excuse, and she's probably right, but blah, 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 blah.
So pretty much, she's just like, no, it's okay. Just leave me in this rock. Give me some stones and some food, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, it's exactly what Roland said.
Excuse you.
She actually has a level head. Food, give me some rocks, I'll be fine.
But then, as soon... He tries again. He tries to give it to her. I don't like guns. I don't know how to use them. If something came at me in the dark, first thing I'd do is wet my pants. Then I'd probably end up shooting myself.
Then they hear another. Well, I guess a few of the things happen.
Yeah, mine was right after that, where it's... She paused, looking at Eddie solemnly. There's something else, and you might as well know it. I don't want to touch anything that belongs to him. Not anything. For me, I think it's his things might have what my ma used to call hoodoo. I like to think of myself as a modern woman, but I don't want any hoodoo on me when you're gone and the dark land's on top of me. So, she thinks that everything that Roland touches is cursed.
He's so evil. He's so horrible.
Technically, everything Roland does touch is cursed.
They hear another giant growl. And then a little further down, of course, Eddie offers the gun again. Because you know what? Roland told you specifically not to give her the gun. And this time, she takes it.
Yes. You can argue all you want. I won't argue, I guess. She took the gun. Please be as quick as you can. And of course, he kisses her and he's off. And this time, he is flying.
Oh, is he flying?
Let her be safe, that's my wish. Let my beloved be safe. And like an ill omen, a wildcat screeched somewhere in the tortured ravines that cut through the hills. Only this wildcat sounded as big as a lion roaring in an African jungle. Eddie ran faster.
And he gets back to Roland. I don't know how fast, but pretty freaking fast.
And Roland's like, he doesn't even have to. At first, he's like, oh, what's that noise? What's the noise? Oh, it's Eddie. Doesn't have to open his eyes. He just knows. Says, I made it, he said. I'm here. He looked back around, then back at the gunslinger as if he could not believe it. Jesus, I'm really here. You gave her the gun.
Roland knew! He just knows! Like, you bastard.
I bust my ass getting back here in record time, and all you can say is, you gave her the gun? Thanks, man. I mean, I expected some expression of gratitude, but this is just, overwhelming. It's like, I think I said the only thing that matters.
You did the one thing I told you not to do.
Now, you can either get in the chair, or I can put it up your butt. Says, which do you prefer? Neither. You're gonna sleep.
You're going to sleep. For, was it 5 or 7 hours?
Yeah.
Like 4.
All right. But yes, I wrote that part down, is that he said, your life is in my hands now, I suppose you know that. Yes. I kidnapped you. Yes. Do you want to kill me? If you do it now rather than subject any of us to... His breath whistled out softly. Eddie heard his chest rattling and cared very little for the sound, to any further discomfort. I don't want to kill you. Then, he was interrupted by a sudden harsh burst of coughing. Lie down. And so then Eddie decides to go to sleep. Yeah. So they get up and they go.
Yeah, they go a little ways and Eddie gets some more sleep and blah blah blah. Let's see, where's my next?
Where was it? Oh man, I missed something.
What'd you miss?
So of course he said, oh, this is overwhelming, everything like that. And it says, I do too, but if you don't rest, you're going to fall down in the traces. Simply as that. Bad for you, worse for me, and worst of all for her. Eddie stood for a moment undecided. You made good time, the gunslinger conceded. He squinted at the sun. It's 4, maybe a quarter past. But yeah, just the fact that he finally was like, first it was the gun, and then it was like, you did make good time. Like, he did give Eddie props.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, they make their journey, and Eddie, of course, is thinking of Odetta the entire time.
It takes him a couple days to get back. Where Eddie sleeps minimally.
And of course, the cat's still making noises. 2 hours later, they reached it. Well, this is of course, way after, like a couple days later.
Yes, but yes. Then the third door was in plain view. By the time the sun cleared the hills, 2 hours later, they reached it.
All together again, Eddie thought, ready to drop into the sand. But that was apparently not so. There was no sign of Odetta Holmes. No sign at all.
And you want to talk about hard-headed. Sweet baby Jesus.
So, yes, he pretty much is just like, he's screaming for her at this point.
Yeah, he's trying to find Odetta. He's screaming, he's trying to get her attention. Where is she?
Meanwhile, Roland is looking at the door, and he is reading the words that he didn't expect to see. Because he was thinking that it was going to be...
One word.
Yes. Death, Walter had said, but not for you, gunslinger. There was not one word writ upon this door, but two, and neither of them was death. He read it again, lips moving soundlessly. The pusher. Yet it means death, Roland thought, and knew it was so. And then he turned his head and sees Eddie starting to climb the frickin' mountain to go find Odetta. And
the great debate.
Well, the first thing that happens is Roland is thinking. It says that he thinks that maybe Eddie could find Odetta, and somehow their love will just push Odetta to the background. He says he was a romantic in his own harsh way, yet he was also a realist enough to know that sometimes love actually did conquer all. As for himself, even if he was able to get the drugs from Eddie's world, which had almost cured him before, would they be able to cure him this time? Perhaps things hadn't gone too far. And then at this, it says, perhaps he thought the time had come to an end to just cry off.
And at this, everything in him rose in protest.
Eddie! His voice was deep and powerful. And Eddie's just like...
Roland has 1 second of doubt about maybe just giving up. And it's like, impossible.
Nope.
It cannot happen.
Nope.
It will not happen.
So Eddie's just like, go, I will keep looking, you go ahead. And it's like, I have to find her. I mean, I really have to. I understand your love and your need, the gunslinger said, but I want you to come with me. Come with you? Come with you? Now I think I really have heard everything. Deedle dumpkin, everything. Last time you were so determined I was going to stay behind. You were willing to take a chance on me cutting your throat. This time you want to take a chance on something ripping hers out. And yes, then it all starts to go downhill from there.
She's alive. That being so, why does she not answer your call?
And Eddie wants to come up with any and every reason. The cat, maybe the cat got her, but, at the very last minute, just paralyzed her and took her away. Or, maybe got her and then she just kept clicking and clicking, and the last one just bam, before she dies. It's like, we would have heard a gunshot. And then Eddie turns on Roland. Maybe you heard a gunshot and didn't tell me.
Well, she's like, well, the cat roar woke you up. A gunshot would have woke you up, too.
Not as tired as I am, man. I fell asleep. It's like being dead. I know the feeling. But it's not being dead.
It might have been Court, but he rather thought it had been his father. Had a saying, Might as well try to drink the ocean with a spoon as argue with a lover.
If any proof of the saying were needed, there it stood above him in a posture that was all defiance and defense. Go on, the set of Eddie Dean's body said. Go on, I can answer any question you throw at me.
Except this one.
Something grabbed her all right. Okay, could have been an ape that grabbed her or something like that. Something grabbed her all right, the gunslinger said. Well, thank God, getting sick hasn't driven all the sense out of your... And we both know what it was. Detta Walker. That's what grabbed her. Detta Walker. Eddie opened his mouth, but for some little time, only seconds, but enough of them so both acknowledged the truth. The gunslinger's inexorable face bore all his arguments to silence.
Eddie knows he's right. Whether he wants to admit it or not, he knows.
And then they get into a tango. He's like, Eddie, come here. No, I'm not coming. It's like a kid. Like, Eddie, come here. No, I'm not getting any closer. I know what you're trying to do.
Come a little closer if we're to talk. Let's talk, blah, blah, blah. What big eyes you have, Grandma, Eddie said. To which the very next thing is, we switch over to Detta! Because it is definitely Detta, hidden off, like, I don't know how, like, was it 150 yards above them, and perhaps full a quarter mile to the east. Dark eyes and full of intelligence as we're lacking human mercy. Watching this whole thing with the gun.
Yes. The really bad man is now the really sick man. And she is talking about how she could feel when Roland was inside her head. The really bad man, it felt terrible. Terrible when he took control of her. It's like, so pretty much, she remembered seeing the body of that really bad man lying on the sand with Eddie. What would that Eddie had plunged that knife into the really bad man's throat? Better than a pig slaughtering, better by a country mile. But he hadn't. But she had seen the really bad man's body. It had been breathing, but body was the right word just the same. It had only been a worthless thing, like a cast-off tow sack, which some idiot had stuffed full of weeds or corn shucks. So pretty much, she understands what happens when someone goes near that door. Their body stays there. There's just a thing that she can do whatever with.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna find out, and then, bam, just gunshot.
Yep. But she was jerked from her run of her thoughts by sound that came to her clearly in spite of her surf and wind, the heavy crack of a pistol shot. And then we switch back over to Eddie and Roland.
Which is a little bit before that. Roland is still trying to get Eddie to come closer to him. Because he's like croaking at this point. He can't yell anymore. It's like, a few more steps wouldn't hurt though, would it? I'm not going to be able to shout much longer. And I need to make you think about what you're doing, planning to do. If I can't persuade you to come with me, maybe I can at least put you on your guard again. For your precious tower, Eddie sneered. But he did come skidding halfway down the slope. For my precious tower and your precious health, not to mention your precious life. And of course, Roland pulls out the gun and is like, hey, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
I don't think he plans on shooting Eddie.
Yeah. You can't scare me with that. He is such a child. So Roland tries to explain to him what he did with the remaining ammunition, pretty much.
And time he had while Eddie was gone, and
he pretty much explains that what he did was he went through his belt, pretty much trying out all the ones he thought were the wettest, and he kept cleaning the gun, and every time more and more he was starting to actually get live rounds. And so when he had put them in Eddie's gun, the gun he gave to Eddie, he had picked the ones he thought were the driest, which means that pretty much all of them
a good portion of what she has is going to fire. So she has a live, loaded gun waiting up in the mountains for Eddie. That's his whole point.
Yes.
And Eddie just can't get through his thick skull.
It says, what lesson am I supposed to take from all this, Roland? I didn't send you out here to die, you know. I didn't send either of you out here to die. Great gods, Eddie, where are your brains? She's packing live iron. She's someplace up in those hills. Maybe you think you can track her, but you're not going to have any luck if the ground is as stony as it looks from here. She's lying up there, Eddie, not Odetta, but Detta, lying up there with live iron in her hand. If I leave you and you go after her, she will blow your guts out.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie stared at the coughing man in the wheelchair. At last he heard his voice say, you could have held back one shell you knew was live. I wouldn't put it past you. And with that said, he knew it to be true. He wouldn't put that or anything else past Roland. His tower. His tower. Eddie
is just going to make any excuse possible. He refuses to accept anything Roland's saying. He must find his love.
Yes.
Even if it's not her.
You mean to stay, all right. As Detta, she's safer from whatever wildlife there may be around here than she would have been as Odetta. And you'd be safer away from her. But I can see how it is. I don't like it, but I have no time to argue with you. Does that mean, Eddie asked politely, that no one ever tried to argue with you about this dark tower you're so set on getting to? Roland smiled tiredly. A great many did, as a matter of fact. I suppose that's why I recognize you'll not be moved. One fool knows another. I do go, and hear me, Eddie. Be on your guard.
Then Roland did something that made Eddie ashamed of all his doubts, although no less solidly set in his own decision. He flicked open the cylinder of the revolver with practice flick of a wrist, dumped all the loads, and replaced them with the fresh loads from the loops closest to his buckle. He snapped the cylinder back into place and flicked his wrist. No time to clean the machine now, he said. Whatever that. Twon't matter. It won't matter. Let's go with that. I reckon. Now catch. And catch clean. Don't dirty the machine any more than it already is. There aren't many machines left in this world that work anymore. He threw the gun across the space. And of course Eddie got it. The gunslinger got out of the wheelchair, almost fell when it slid back under his pushed hands. Then tottered to the door. He grasped the doorknob. In his hand it turned easily. Eddie could not see the scene in the door opened upon, but he heard the muffled sound of traffic. Roland looked back at Eddie, his blue bull-shooter eyes gleaming out of his face, which was already ghastly pale.
Of course, Dad is watching this whole thing. He says, "Remember, Eddie," he said in a hoarse voice, and then stepped forward. His body collapsed at the edge of the doorway as if it had struck a stone wall instead of an empty space. And Eddie wanted to go look, but he turned around and started looking for Odetta, of course.
Eddie!
I'm going to tell you one last time. Suddenly scanning the empty brown hills, Eddie was scared. Be on your guard. Nothing up there was moving. Nothing he could see, at least. He sensed her all the same. Not Odetta, the gunslinger was right about that. It was Detta he sensed. He swallowed and heard a click in his throat. On your guard. Yes, but never in his life had he felt such a deadly need for sleep. And while he slept, Detta would come.
Eddie felt weariness, looking at the hills, wondering how long it might be before Roland came back with the third, the pusher, whoever he or she was. Odetta, he called without much hope. Only silence answered, and for Eddie, the time of waiting began.
So what we have is Roland has now left his body in his world has gone to go find the pusher.
And hoping that Eddie will be on guard and make sure that Detta doesn't kill both of them.
Meanwhile, Eddie is tired as hell and fighting sleep. And Detta is wide awake, alert, ready to kill them, just watching the entire scene play out. We already know that she can fight sleep like a champ, because she does it just to torture them.
She's evil. She is evil.
That's the word for it?
Pure evil. Reminds me, after this, 2 trailers came out today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said evil, it reminded me of a trailer.
Okay.
Hellboy, TV series, from Netflix, came out today.
Okay.
Looks interesting. Actually, I think that came out yesterday. Whatever.
I saw something about it yesterday.
I watched it today.
Oh, okay.
And the new Men in Black trailer came out.
Didn't know that was happening at all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Oh, okay.
That's happening. There's a trailer for it now.
Oh, okay.
Starring Thor.
You just said it.
Is it Chris Hemsworth? I don't know.
Chris
I don't know if
Hemsworth,
for some reason I'm really confused. So it's starring Thor, Chris Hemsworth, and I don't know her name, Lita Thompson or something. Anyway, the girl who played Valkyrie in Thor. So Thor and Valkyrie are the new Men in Black. It's gonna be about them. Called Men in Black International, which is a horrible name, but yeah.
Does the trailer even look?
Don't know. I haven't watched it.
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched it. I don't know. I
want to
watch it. I saw a picture. It looks like Liam Neeson is also in this.
Okay.
So, I like the old ones. They were interesting. First one was by far the best one.
Well, obviously.
But they were interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely watch this trailer once we get done with this. Yeah, okay. Once we get done. Which this is really old for y'all when you watch it and things and what we're talking about. And it is what it is.
So the next after you just derailed the entire
we
train.
Didn't say it. I had to. We didn't say what day this was going to be, did we?
I thought we said it was the day before New Year. No, we didn't.
I don't think we said this is technically New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve! So don't forget. It is 8 o'clock on New Year's Eve. So you have a couple more hours and then you can count down to the New Year. This is the last episode of 2018.
Why is it 8 o'clock? For us, who knows when they're going to watch it when it comes out? Why are they randomly watching it at 8 o'clock on New Year's Eve?
Well, okay, that's like saying that. Why are we saying what day it is when they could be watching it like in June?
Yeah, but still, why specify 8 o'clock and tell them they have a couple of hours?
Because you usually on New Year's Eve count down to New Year's. So I'm telling them, for us at least, if it's 8 o'clock, you have a couple more hours before you can count down to the New Year's. And then I mentioned that this is the last episode of 2018. This is the last episode of 20... Wow. It's already been half a year. We started, when, August-ish?
Late August. September, October, November, December. It's been like 4 months.
But that's almost half a year. It feels like 5, so...
Well, it feels like it's been years. But yeah, yes. Technically, this is going out New Year's Eve. It is the very last show that will go up of 2018. Tomorrow we'll open up with Breaking Prisms. What episode is that?
That will be the...
we just watched it. Is it the Twilight episode?
That should be...
The Twilight one? I'm pretty sure.
Isn't that the last one we talked about?
Yeah, so it'll open up with the Twilight episode that both of us thought were...
Because it went nosedive, then...
All you gotta do think what we filmed last.
Huh?
I think we're pretty sure we filmed...
no, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so it was nosedive and then... Oh my goodness. Da, 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 da.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's what is it? What was that one called?
Well, we have
This one's the Twilight Zone. I'm more than positive.
The Twilight Zone episode was Judgment Day.
Yeah, Judgment Day. That's the one that's coming out tomorrow.
Oh. Tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow.
Technically tomorrow.
I can't time travel, okay? Yeah. Wow, we did it.
So, we'll start back off in 2019 with Breaking Prisms, that episode. We've got... Oh, I don't remember what the... What UF is. Oh, no, New Year's resolutions. Nope, that's
that was our
that's what's in the box.
No, it was, would you...
Or is that the one, would you relive 2018?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
I think it was,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, would you relive 2018 if you...
could retain your knowledge.
Yes, if you could retain your knowledge. Pretty much, if you knew what you knew right now, but you had to relive 2018, would you do it? And we had decided, we had pretty much talked ourselves into it, I think. Somehow, by saying yes, because we could have started the podcast earlier.
I think that was a primary reason. That and that alone was the only reason.
Because we figured we'd be bored because of all the movies coming out, and we'd already seen them. And then there's just some stupid stuff that happened in 2018. We don't really want to relive, but the podcast could have started sooner. We could have been a lot farther. Already had notes and stuff taken down of, what we could have changed, made better right away.
Mm-hmm. Because then we would be like 11 months into the podcast. And not 4. Yeah. So enjoy those. Have fun with those. Our next Let's Palaver will be going to part 3, The Pusher, Chapter 1, Bitter Medicine.
Dun dun dun.
But as always, you can reach me at Stars Untraveled. You can reach Amanda at KZPup. You can reach the show at Beyond Our Focus on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, podcast services. I have discovered with our newest comment that Home Dude, his name will forever be Home Dude. He says he doesn't use Twitter. Therefore, because he commented, I assume, based on me complaining that no one ever votes on the poll at the end of the episode.
I think I can do polls on Facebook.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure I can do polls on Facebook. I don't know.
So, he did do that. And he commented also, I didn't get to read it. I was on my way over here when I realized that he had commented, so I didn't read the whole... he had another comment asking questions about the last... the interdimensional... What'd you have?
If we would just hop into a dimension even though we didn't know what it was?
Yes. So he
I
left
forgot what our answers were on that one.
I said no, you said yes.
Yeah. I said let's go for it, and you're like, nah.
Yeah, I'm too risk averse. I can't do it. That's how I am. So
once again, thank you to the wonderful Sandy for our
yes, thanks for the shirts.
It's our first merch, even though it's not for sale and it may not fit.
Exactly. It is what it is. So, hope you enjoyed. Go check out the other comics. The other comic. Or go check out the comic and the other ones that go to it. Check out the other shows. Go watch Spider-Man. Spider-Man. I'm going to just keep pushing it. I'm going to help this movie do well. We're already supposed to get in the sequel. I'm thrilled about it. Go watch it. It's awesome.
It really was. It really was.
Subscribe to the channel. Leave comments down below. Like the videos.
Read the book.
That would be cool, too. If you made it this far, I mean, we're hoping you're reading it.
Yeah.
Our descriptions don't give it justice. So,
like how we sit here and talk about it is not even close to the imagination and descriptions that King puts into it. But if we were to go and read every single thing, it would literally be a read-along, and we'd probably get into some copyright issues.
No, I doubt it. No one's going to say nothing. No one's going to say nothing. I don't think so anyway. But it is what it is. Aspen, say goodbye to 2018.
Bye.
Goodbye, 2018. Till next time, in 2019. Long days and pleasant nights.